Jackie Barger, welcome back to the Ozark Unplugged studio for the second time.
Good to be here.
You know, our first podcast that we did was absolutely amazing. Only 2 people in the world listened to it, and that was me and you, because I forgot to record the audio.
It was that good. It was that good.
Welcome back, my friend. A lot has
here.
happened since we did this. This was like last summer that we did a little podcast. And, you know, our goal with this podcast is just to have candid conversations with great leaders in our community, just to kind of pick your brain, and we just talk about strategies and things that are happening in the Ozarks and what's going on in your world. And I don't know, man, but you've been kind of busy, actually. As a matter of fact, here, I got a picture on the screen. You've been working on this little project. Congratulations, my friend.
Thank you very much. We started seeing patients in January of 2026, and January 21st was our first day to see patients.
Yeah.
We are so pleased to have this asset to serve the community, or really all of Christian County and our 6-county area. We've got kids coming from all over to as patients of our dental clinic, and this replaces our previous facility just 3.6 miles down the road, and we've been talking about it for years, and then finally we started getting serious about it in 24.
Well, I guess so. We are going to have that ribbon cutting on the 11th. It's going to be between us and Nixon, whoever else wants to come. But
Smart and clever.
And smart and clever. I like that.
All for Christian County Chambers, yep.
Well, man, that was a big project for you. So how that, you said you had a vision of this went way back when. I mean, I know that facility that you were in Ozark was a little small. It
was a little small, number one. Number two, it was just showing its age. I mean, we took care of it. Our landlord took care of it, but it was just showing its age in terms of we were still using some things that were just older applications, technologies and things. Still worked perfectly fine, but a new facility gave us the opportunity to be new everything.
You know, I've been through a commercial remodel. Never been through a commercial ground build straight up. But what were some of the obstacles and challenges you guys had to overcome?
Well, we were lucky that we purchased a lot on the east side of Nixa that had all the infrastructure already in place.
Yeah, it's nice.
That was big, and selecting an architect, we did that, and everything went fairly well. Anybody in the building industry, and our developer that we worked with told us when we said, it seems to take a while with architects and engineers for reports or things to get back for the next step to happen. He said, Jackie, it's happening everywhere. We got projects all over the Midwest, and everybody is saying exactly the same thing. Just delays with getting things done. But it's we are so pleased with the finished product. We with our architect firm, we told them, we're not designers, but we told them, we wanted interior ceiling height, higher than normal. We wanted a unique use of color. We wanted natural light and a lot of windows, and they nailed it in terms of putting it all together. And we've been very pleased. So we run dental clinics. Mm-hmm. We don't build buildings.
Right.
We don't plan. So we hired, and we had some people that recommended this to us. We actually hired a developer that helped coordinate the entire project and spoke on our behalf to the architect and the contractor and major subs in terms of getting things done.
Well, as a guy who would like to someday, I like our little office we have now, but, the big vision for Ozark is to have a standalone building at some point. I don't know whether that's a year from now or 2 or 3 years from now or when we start thinking about that process. But, think big, right? I mean, you probably had that vision way back. How did you work with your board did you have a design committee? Did you have a building committee? I mean, this is a challenge that nonprofits have, is working with their board of directors to do a project like this.
Well, I guess I'd back up and give you a few characteristics about Children's Smile Center, because a lot of folks might make assumptions about what the board is involved in and what the board is not involved in. Mm-hmm. And we're a little unique and we talk to people, prospective members of our board, staff members, and how we make decisions and how we do planning. For instance, our board only meets 4 times a year. And for people that really understand corporations and financials and everything, only 4 times a year? Well, we're really doing more reporting to the board than we are asking for decisions.
Mm-hmm.
They have the oversight. They have the right to make every single decision they want to. But the way I present it to prospective board members and remind current board members, your job, employ an executive director. Now that could go both ways.
Right.
Hire or fire.
Yeah.
Employ an executive director, provide them what they need, and approve the annual budget, and look out for our future. So be guardians of our future. We might go, well, at least 3 times a year we're not approving the budget, just in the final November meeting. So the motions might be approve the reports.
Yeah.
But then we got to some big ideas. And when we get to really, really big ideas, things like a building, I said, now folks, I need a motion and a second and a vote. And I need this recorded in the minutes.
Right.
That the board decided,
yes,
that there was a proposal brought to the board. Carrie and I would bring a proposal to the board about what we wanted to do and why. And then they approved that. And I told them, I said, I got to have a motion on this. But then, in the same meeting, they passed a motion for Jackie and Carrie to have full authority to sign on behalf of the corporation.
Nice.
Everything to do to get the building done.
Yeah.
So they didn't relinquish that. I mean, we had board members taking a look and asking questions and different things.
Well, they should. They should.
And they do.
Yeah.
And we would report to them every step of the way. But they also said, we hired an executive director. They're adding this to their portfolio of what they do in the job. And then they turned Carrie and I loose to get the building done.
I don't know. It might have been you years ago, but somebody who's been working with nonprofits told me a long time ago, whenever you have a big decision like that, put a volunteer between you and the paid position, right? So I want to put that on my board, right? We made a decision to support the Home Rule Charter. And, we don't normally, as a chamber, we don't normally take political, situation or don't do kind of political agendas anymore, right? It's just not honestly, Jackie, it's kind of a toxic environment for it if you're not careful.
Yeah.
But this Home Rule Charter was important, but I wanted the board to make that decision. It's not a decision that I'm making. So if I'm out there at a chamber luncheon advocating for the city and the Home Rule Charter, then I have full authority of the board of directors.
Now you provided input.
Correct. Yes.
Input.
And experts. I brought in city people. Yeah. They kind of explained what was going on. But I'd been through the Home Rule Charter process myself when I was at another city a few years ago, and I was actually on the commission, and it is good. So you do fight for those things too that that's good for your business or your organization, and you knew this building was something that you really needed to go to the next step.
And then the pandemic just accentuated that or expanded it, exploded it really. We knew we wanted a new building even before the pandemic. That, Carrie and I had been talking, someday we're going to get a new facility. But then the demand from the pandemic really exposed our shortcomings, if you will. And especially with everything happening in our building. I mean, I look back, we had 1, 2, 3, 4, sometimes 5 people crammed into our front desk area.
I remember going in there. It's tight.
We've carved out space, Sandy in the corner, Donna, and then other people, and we had 2 or 3, 1, 2, 3, 4 computer workstations squeezed in, and storage was at a premium, and much better. We went from 3,100 square feet to 7,300 square feet.
You talk about Carrie. I went over there a couple of times and got that tour and just talking to her and passing and stuff. And there's the phone ringing. Hopefully Patty gets it. There we go. She's been with you how long now?
She is the senior employee of the Smile Center. So we started seeing patients in December of 2006. She went to work at the Smile Center in March of 2007.
I mean, her leadership skills have developed.
Oh, amazing. Amazing, and she and I have a very, very good working relationship. I like to refer to it as I'm the executive director of the corporation, the nonprofit, the overall organization. Carrie is the administrator over the dental clinics, but she is kind of in a quasi role of associate executive director. So she can represent the company when needed or speak for me when needed. And she's developed into an amazing leader. She is a bulldog on details And
well, you told me she pretty much was the general contractor on the project.
Well,
I mean, not technically, but yeah.
So it was interesting. The developer, the architect, and the developer, architect, and contractor, all three of them independently said, respectfully, of course, well, we have a lot more participation from the owner than what we're used to on projects. And it's like, yes. And Carrie and I even had different approaches. I remember one meeting, we were talking to the landscape guys, and the landscape guys brought in a proposal. Mm-hmm. And, they had the documents and the drawings and the schematics and everything. And I looked at it, and it's like, I kind of shrugged and said, looks good. And Carrie said, wait a minute. Can we see pictures of those plants and those trees and shrubs? Do we have other options we could look at in selecting that? And they were, sure. And then the finished product was just priceless. It was just golden. And she was in the middle of it. I tell people this is the house that Carrie built. And then when we give tours, I like to tell people, I said, everything that you see, everything, and then I emphasize, I repeat, no, you don't understand. I mean, every little detail that you see physically in the building, she touched, decided, got input, options, and it did an amazing job.
But I mean, that kind of goes back to you guys' trust. I mean, you've got a lot of employees that have been working for you for a long time, Jackie. What do you think the key is to developing leaders like Carrie, like Sandy, like others that have been with you for a long time, and being able to say, okay, like you said, the board of directors' job is to hire and fire, right, in some cases, but to be able to say, hey, I give 100% trust to Carrie to take on this project because of the way she developed her leadership skills. What do you attest to that?
Well, for the last, it goes back almost 8 years now. Mm-hmm. So about 8 years ago, we worked with a consulting company that helped us formulate and put down on paper mission, vision, and core values. And that has been an amazing process for us to come up with mission, vision, and core values. And the core values is what I look at every single day. And I remind staff about it. We do an internal weekly newsletter that for some reason, I don't know why, for about 6 months we didn't do one.
I wonder why. Yeah.
So, we just kicked those off again. But internal newsletter, communication with staff, interviews, evaluations, one-on-ones with staff. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like to remind them about our core values of compassionate care, positive experiences, quality services. And you can shorten it down. We're compassion, positive, quality. Mm-hmm. And those are the three drivers of who we are and what we do. And then 2 years ago, we worked with this same firm again to start talking about, and this was Carrie's idea. She had seen a product called a culture guide in the corporate world. Mm-hmm. She said, hey, look at this. This looks cool. And she said, I wonder what it would take for us to do a culture guide.
How many employees again?
We're up to 40.
40, okay.
Yeah. Not all full-time, but we're up to 40.
Right.
And and when I started, we were at, I think, 15. Mm-hmm. But anyway, we're talking about what a culture guide is, what it does. And I remember, and Carrie and the consultants and myself, the three entities, we worked on the process of what we wanted to do. And we started with team meetings, and the Smile Center, it's literally impossible for us to meet with everybody at the same time.
Right, because you got the Aurora campus. Right. Yeah.
And some of them go back and forth, but we have a group in Aurora. Our Branson West satellite, some of them are part-timers that work in different places besides Branson West. Some of them are Branson West only. And the only day they have available is Friday in Branson West. Yeah. So... But they're still part of the team. Mm-hmm. So and our Christmas party once a year, we introduce a lot of people. But anyway, we got to talking about it, and we decided that we wanted staff input to start the process
of the culture guide. Right.
And so we just asked people what makes us good, what makes us healthy, what does winning look like, those types of questions, and the big old sheets you put on the wall with the marker board,
Yeah,
and everything, and we got all those, and then we distilled them all down. It is amazing. We took the exact words of the staff, and we were boiling it down and sorting everything out, and all of a sudden, it was magic. It started congealing into 3 different sections. So our culture guide became a 3-legged stool, and with 3 themes. Those themes are patients first, winning team, individual success. And you can tell from those that's very much a staff-centered approach to what we're doing. So patients first, winning team, and individual success. So patients first, it's obvious. Put the patient first, make them feel like a rock star, cater to their needs, be nice, show dignity to families, help them solve problems, congratulate them coming to the clinic, celebrate with them, parents being good parents and getting health care for their kids,
right.
All of those positive things. Patients first, that's number 1. And let the patients, let's say, if they're late for an appointment, let's not turn that into their problem.
Right.
Let's adjust on our end and do everything that we can do even if they're late.
Because kids happen. I mean, kids can be a challenge, and getting them, I get that. So you got to have patience.
Let's just say in the population that we serve, there's a technical word in healthcare called appointment compliance. And then there's another term that we don't like using, but it's shortened to NCNS. No call, no show. And we have several of those still, and it's the nature of the population. But patients first, and then a winning team. In other words, what kind of a coworker are you? Do you help your coworker solve problems? Do you get along? Do you avoid drama? Do you help each other out? Do you pitch in when somebody's behind and you've got a few extra minutes? Do you get and we have chores that rotate through all the staff. Are you getting your chores done to help somebody else? All of those things. What does a winning team look like? And then the third thing was individual success. Are you on time? Dress code, grooming. Are you taking care of yourself? Do you have a good attitude? Are you presenting yourself in a positive way? Again, for our patients, we call it appointment compliance.
Right.
Attendance, at work and not letting people down. And being a good team player.
Well, and the thing about when you're working at a nonprofit situation, it's not like you're running this corporation, Jackie, that Carrie can someday have shares in the company or be an investor in the company or something like that, or become a partner depending on what kind of business that it might be. And so it is important that, we as leaders, we're in the same boat here at the chamber, but you've got to take ownership of the situation, because otherwise it just kind of falters, and you've got to find people who are willing to say, okay, I believe in that mission and vision, and I believe that sometimes even in the business world, like the actual for-profit world, I think if they went back and really reevaluated sometimes their mission, their vision, their culture guide, and really focus on that, it would make a big difference in their success. But they don't. They get caught up in the everyday runnings of the business and wonder why they're not expanding or growing.
So a couple of things. First off, years ago, and I've made this shift in terms of communicating who we are and what we do. I don't know if people have noticed it or not, but years ago I would refer to us as a charitable nonprofit organization taking care of kids who need dental care, kids from low-income families. Now I will say we are a healthcare company serving the needs of thousands of patients in Southwest Missouri and providing healthcare needs. And that's been intentional. So the second thing.
So it's a mindset.
It's a mindset.
It's a mindset.
So,
how do we get intentional? I like that.
So going along with that, for us, we are a nonprofit organization, but that's just a corporate structure, is all that is. You get a certificate from the state of Missouri that says you are a nonprofit. The biggest difference is, and in the technical definition of being a nonprofit, is there are not owners who benefit financially from the proceeds of the operation when it's running. So I've even talked to some people. I remember a board member years ago that felt like because we were a nonprofit, we couldn't have net income. We gently...
Are you a C6? Or
C3.
You are C3, okay.
So we respect...
We have to be a C6.
Yeah, so respectfully and professionally, we carefully disagreed with them and said, using a slogan from a trainer at Community Foundation events years ago, no margin, no mission.
Yeah,
and that's a good mantra to remember. So we are a small business. I don't know, 40 employees.
No kidding.
We're a medium-sized business maybe, but
you'd be in you are, but I mean it's that tiered system like we have in the chamber. Yeah. You're up there a little bit. Yeah.
But we feel very strongly about running a successful business. Carrie has said this before, and it's really cool. What would change at Children's Smile Center if the Medicaid system ended at midnight? And the next day we wake up and see children from families of all incomes, all social streams, no matter what their income is, private insurance, private pay, but there's no Medicaid. And we still, the next day we're operating a dental clinic. What would change in how we operate Children's Smile Center? And the answer that we're very, very proud of is
nothing.
Absolutely nothing at all.
Yeah.
And on the first day, we were given tours to literally everybody that walked into the building, and a mom was sitting in the lobby, and her kids were already back in the chair, and I said, "Would you like a tour?" She said, "Sure." Side note, it was interesting. She had her hands massaging her leg, her knee. I said, "Are you okay?" She said, "I'm trying to get my leg back on."
Oh, God.
I figured it out. I said, "Oh, do you have prosthetic?" She said, "Oh, yeah." And I said, "Would you like a tour?" She said, "Yeah." She said, "Hang on. Okay, I can walk."
All right.
That was a great story, too.
Yeah,
I talked with her about that. So, anyway, we're going through, and at the end of the tour, she said, we're not thrilled that we're on Medicaid. It's just that season of our life where to make things work, that's what we're going to do. And we don't expect to be on it forever. But there's a stigma about, saying that you're on Medicaid, and you accept the fact that the services or the facilities are going to be less than. And she used that almost like a noun, that the services would be less than. And she said, "You guys blew that out of the water."
Yeah.
And that's the highest praise for us. We didn't feel like a number, didn't feel like it was welfare. We felt like we were at a regular dental office.
Yes, that's you kind of going back to...
That's powerful.
That's powerful. That is powerful for sure. You kind of going back to that mindset of, working with these boards and understanding that, there is some profit to be made. I would say profit. In the chamber, we're doing okay on money. I've got some big visions, and we front load a little bit in the first of the year, and that's got to carry us the rest of the year, So that's kind of how we operate here at the Ozark Chamber, and, as we got various events coming up. Some events are designed to make money, and some, like the National Day of Prayer, are designed to make sure it happens, and that's kind of the way with the parade too, but also, you get someone like Carrie and Sandy, and I don't know all your dentists, and I'm sure they're talented too, but you've got to make some money to keep that talent. Because people like Carrie and Sandy, and I'm not saying that they're going to jump ship on you. That's not what I mean. But this is the same thing in any nonprofit world, right? Yeah. You've got to figure out a way that you're going to retain that talent, and whether that's with benefits or if it's with bonuses or whatever that looks like. That's the worst thing in the world is our governments when it comes to this. They can hire some talented people, but they get kind of siphoned off sometimes because cities are so stringent on what they can and can't do. They can't throw Christmas parties. They can't do this. They can't do those little things that helps retain that talent. And then they're stuck in these tier levels. And I think in order for nonprofits and government entities and those sort of things to keep up, your board of directors or your aldermen or whoever they are, they have to understand that we've got to figure out a way to continue the growth of our people and developing those leaders, or they will jump ship.
Yeah, so we've been lucky. When I came on board, there was already a very good health insurance plan that was that the employer pays 100% of the premium for the staff person. And we found out it's not like that everywhere.
Yeah.
People sometimes have to participate in their own health insurance or their health care coverage. We felt like our benefits have been at a middle to maybe a little above average even since the beginning, but our pay was not.
Yeah.
Because that was one of the reasons the Smile Center started was dentists could not afford to keep their doors open with their costs with what the Medicaid reimbursement was. So that was one of the reasons the Smile Center started. And they knew and they accepted, from the beginning that the salaries weren't going to be, you could go literally anywhere and make more money, but we want to at least try to be in the market. And then also that kind of left us revenue minus expenses. We hope every year is zero. Now, for the 16 years I've been there, not counting Medicaid expansion that started for us financially really in 22, but prior to that, every year, at the end of the year, revenue minus expenses was less than zero once or twice, and the rest of the time, a small margin, and it was a small. It was a small margin, and that margin only happened because of writing grants and some donations and some special events that have been successful for us. But so things are.
I mean, like balloon glows, those kind of things. I got you. I got you.
Yeah. Those have been successful, and we were. I think we were. I think we were wise to say when the handful of events that we had were making 3,000 to 5,000 to 10,000. It's like, okay, that's what we're doing in June and July and October. Now what are we going to do in November and March and August to keep bringing in funds? And it's like, instead of doing that,
one big one,
why don't we take the events that we already have and just supersize them?
Yeah.
So we still just have.
We got a fishing tournament.
We did.
You did. You dropped it.
We respectfully decided not to continue, which is okay.
Yeah, I get it.
It was a very positive transition, and they had some shifts in what they were doing. They were bringing on more nonprofits, which was going to dilute their net income, and our time investment. We really needed it to. So it
had to go. Just threw it over the boat.
They're good friends.
Yeah, I gotcha.
They're good friends.
Gotcha. But you do have the balloon glow. That's your big one that you do every year.
That's our big one. And this year is the 20th annual Hot Air Balloon Glow presented by Ozark Chevrolet.
There you go.
And I'm looking for that title sponsor someday. So let's say the Ozark Chamber has $1 million to spend.
Right.
So we could actually refer to this as the 20th annual Ozark Chamber of Commerce annual balloon glow.
Oh, you want to go that far with a title sponsor, and not the Children's Smile Center?
No, we don't have to put Children's Smile Center name in there, which is okay. We get a lot of coverage and exposure for what we do. We've been real lucky. We average anywhere from 6 to 10 radio interviews.
Oh, I know. Yeah.
And anywhere from 2 to 5 television interviews and some good print coverage. They're thrilled or they're enthralled with the balloon glow, but literally every other sentence or every other paragraph to support Children's Smile Center, the work that we do, that is priceless publicity for our work.
I love it.
Staff love it, patients love it, sponsors love it. It's a great event.
I love it.
Well, yeah.
I love it.
So it is one of those events that has become one of the adopted identities of Ozark.
Yeah.
You look at visuals and graphics that the city of Ozark will use to promote their parks, facilities, and properties. There's always a picture of the glow.
Yeah.
One year, the Chamber of Commerce put it on the front cover of the membership directory.
Yeah. We still got it on our website, and I was on the state of Missouri's tourist website the other day, and it's on there. So I mean, it does get a lot of coverage, and it is kind of an important icon for the Ozarks or for the Ozark community.
We're looking for ways that we can enhance that over time. We have an asset. That event and the visual identity is an asset for us. And
and you are fortunate to be a part of the Sertoma Duck Race. I mean, it's the Sertoma Duck Race that has a balloon glow happening during the duck race. Yeah, we got to make sure that they're clear on that. But it's just such a wonderful, iconic thing.
It's a classic example. I taught Brad Jackson a little bit about special events. And he remembers this lesson to this day. He said, well, now if you talk to Jackie Barger, he'll tell you that 1 + 1 = 3 or 4 or 5. And it's just talking about synergy.
Yeah.
Where the combination of what you do together has more value than what you do separately.
For sure.
And that happens for Sertoma. They're thrilled that we bring 15,000 people down to the park on Friday night. We're thrilled that Sertoma Duck Race has the infrastructure needs. We don't worry about parking, traffic, porta potties, trash, food and drink vendors, security, all that stuff. We don't worry about that. they're already doing that for their festival. They just let us come into their space and bring 50,000 people.
That's right.
On Friday night.
And a wonderful atmosphere.
Yeah.
Jackie, let's switch gears a little bit. I want to switch gears. You belong to not only Nixa Chamber, Ozark Chamber, Aurora Chamber, Table Rock Lake Area Chamber, and probably a few others here and there. We've had this conversation a little bit in the past. Talk about, we know guys like you and I, we network well, we communicate well, we don't mind to grab the microphone and tell a story whenever we are given a chance. It's something that we do, but for a business out there, you do a lot of community involvement outside of what you do for the nonprofit, which is the Balloon Glow, right? Now, I know some of that is to enhance but you also see the value of that. Why don't you talk about a little bit about the importance about people getting involved in their community and how it can benefit them?
Happy to do that. So let's slow down here. See, Ozark, Nixa, Aurora, Monette, Table Rock Lake, Sparta, Clever. We're now a member of 7 chambers, and we've not pulled the trigger yet, but there was a couple of years I went to the Mount Vernon Chamber Annual Expo and set up a booth. I did that a couple of years, and we know people there. So our chamber involvement has been central to our community involvement, engagement, exposure, and participation. When you're a member of the chamber, you're participating in the community. Well, aren't you already doing that at the Smile Center? I said, yeah, but there's a lot of people that if they know more about us, everybody that leaves a chamber meeting of any kind, 10 people in their circle are going to know about it. Mm-hmm. And that's probably low.
Right.
And how many folks share news, events, happenings, needs, successes, challenges? How many people in the chamber, when they hear about that, they then have their own network that they can bring into all of that information? I find a chamber membership to be extremely valuable in helping promote our mission and helping us be a successful small business. And I can tell you that
but you have to do the work, Jackie.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I tell people all the time that, and I don't care whether it's our chamber or any other chamber in the area, which there's a lot of great chambers that are in the Southwest Missouri area. Yeah, you can put your name and sign up and get your name in the directory. It doesn't mean your business is going to grow or that all of a sudden you're going to be well known in your community. You have to get involved. You have to come to things. You have to come to Showcase Ozarks. You've got to go to chamber luncheons and First Friday Coffee and get involved like that. Just a little bit. It doesn't have to be all the time. I get it. Some people go, I cannot get away for a chamber luncheon. Great, understand that. Yeah. Sneak over to First Friday Coffee there at 7:30 in the morning,
so
right?
Full disclosure, prior to my nonprofit work in Christian County, I was employed by a large chamber in the area, right up the road in Greene County, and was honored to work there and learned a lot about what people think about being a chamber member. And the number one thing I always heard in working in membership was, well, yeah, I joined a few years ago, but then I didn't get anything out of it. Didn't get anything out of it. It didn't do anything for me. And I could say if I heard that once, I've heard it 100 times.
Right, me
you
too.
have to.
Yeah.
But being a part of something that's bigger, again, that process of, 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1, 100 times, the value of that is a whole lot more than 100. Because, again, the synergy of being a part of a community. And now the chamber is only one part of the community.
That's right.
I'll hear speakers that go to the chamber. We wanted to come talk to the community. Well, you're talking to the chamber, not the whole community.
That's right.
But still, the fact that people think that about a chamber as being representative of the entire community, that's, put that on your shoulders and sleep on it,
Well,
it's a big deal.
And I talk to politicians about this too. Today when we're recording this, it's election day, April the 7th, right? And we had a few contested races here in the Ozark area, and I think around the county to some extent. And I tell people you can come to the chamber, join the chamber, get engaged. Come and give away a raffle drawing, say your name, say you're running for office. I don't care if that's your campaign, though. then you're not going to win.
Oh, yeah.
You're not going to be successful because you're not getting in front of the majority of the voters.
Yeah.
And that is something that's important, too. Now, I also know that people join the chamber because they believe in the mission that we're doing. And they may not be able to make everything. They may not be able to attend every event. You talk about Ozark Chevrolet. They do a lot for the community, not just the chamber, but also, people like you, of course, and other nonprofits in the area and those sort of things. And you hardly see Kelly and Rob go to some of those activities, right? Because they're very involved in their business, but they want to show their support, and they want to show that they're involved in the community. And some people just join the chamber just so they can do that. But Jackie, you take it a step further. You not only get involved with different chambers, but you're also involved with other you're Rotary. You're a big part of Rotary. You're also a big part of Sertomans, and you're really diversifying yourself. And I think you see other people that are doing the same thing. Maybe they're not overly involved in chamber, but they are in Rotary, or they are in. Yeah. Why is that important? Why do you see that as an important thing to do? And how do you get benefit from even belonging to smaller subgroups like that?
Well, I think it's having an attitude of wanting to give back. The other organizations that I've been honored to be a part of are organizations that are servant or service organizations. Rotary, Sertoma, Finley River Community Foundation, Carries and Kiwanis,
Cosmopolitan
Cosmopolitan Club, and Impact 100 Ozark, and all of those organizations provide a way for people to say thank you to the community by giving back, by showing appreciation for the community. Well, twofold: either showing appreciation for the community or wanting to see positive things happen for the community. There's plenty of stories in the United States about small towns that aren't going well, and people come to town and want to make things better, and they start getting busy, to make improvements. And we already have a very positive, wonderful situation here.
We do,
and people just want to make it better. I've told the two biggest school districts in Christian County repeatedly. I've been honored to serve on two different Care to Learn advisory boards, and I tell school districts at least once or twice a year, I will say, every dollar you spend to help the at-risk child, the child that has challenges or problems, whether it be from low income or a difficult family life or home life, every dollar you spend there returns tenfold to improve the entire school district. And in terms of service, Sertoma likes to talk about in their name even 4 C's: Christian County Children's Charities.
Right.
They want to focus on kids. A lot of what Rotary does focuses on kids. Obviously, Children's Smile Center is helping kids, but seeing, well, with school districts, I wanted to finish that thought. With school districts, attendance, behaviors, and achievement. Now, if there's negative behaviors, negative attendance, or negative achievement, all 3 of those things are headlines.
Exactly.
All 3 of those. And up the road in Springfield, they were having big arguments about what are we doing with discipline in the schools, that sort of thing. But if you can invest in the lowest segment of at-risk, the ones that have the most challenges, and let's say everything in their life, on a scale of 1 to 10, everything in their life is a 3. There's problems at home, folks are employment issues, transportation issues, health issues, just every time you turn around, they're getting knocked down. A lot of times that happens with nobody's fault. But then, and then you've got a kid that's benefiting from all the advantages. Everything's going right. And on a scale of 1 to 10, they might say their life is an 8. Okay, I'm a numbers guy, remember?
Oh yeah.
So let's say we take that kid that's a 3, and we take them,
invest,
and we take them to a 4. Last time I did math, that increase of 1 divided by 3 as the base is a 33% improvement in where they're at. You take the 8 and they go to a 9, that's a 16% improvement. And those are just numbers.
Right.
But it illustrates if you lift up a rising tide lifts all boats, right? That's used sometimes in the business world and in sales. But in a school district, you're improving the entire school district whenever you're paying attention to the folks that really need that extra hand. Care to Learn does a great job of talking about that and promoting that, and those help school districts be better performing school districts.
So giving back is a big part of what you think is one of the reasons that you see people working. I mean, I see people, they want to get involved. They'll come in here and we'll have a conversation. Chris, how do I get involved in the Ozark community? And I lay out some ideas, and then I never see them again. It's literally happened multiple times where it's like they come in here and they just. Maybe it's like they're checking off, you should go by and talk to the chamber office. Go talk to Chris at the chamber guy. He'll tell you how to get involved in Ozark. And they come over and I have a conversation with them, and then we don't ever see them again, and they wonder why they're not gaining momentum and going in the direction that they want to go. I don't get it.
So there would be people smarter and more talented than me to talk about this, but I think part of it goes back to a very big societal issue in terms of how people see themselves in the world today. And you go back, you don't have to go back very many generations, and you would find communities that would take care of their own. You would find the Labor Day picnic, the entire town would be there.
That's right.
The Christmas parade never had a shortage of floats or participants, and we're doing pretty good. In Ozark.
Yeah, we're okay.
But there's lots of those traditions and community enhancements that have gone by the wayside over the years. And now, on a personal level, you also look at the decline in participation in religious organizations, and you look at some of those factors, and it's no surprise that sometimes you can feel a shortage of. We need people to give. We need people to help. We need more help. And a community of this size should easily support a fill in the blank.
That's right. That's right.
And I guess if there's one thing would encourage people to do is find ways to give locally. Now we talk about be vocal for shop local or
shop Ozark, shop where you live,
but also give where you live. It's real easy to listen to late night TV or even on big radio shows and hear lots of options about things that are doing national and international things. Those are well and good. But you know what? For every one of those organizations, there's 10 of them that have a budget of $50,000 or $75,000 a year.
Right.
And they just need local people to pitch in and volunteer to help.
And here's the thing. I'm going to preface this with what we have in Ozark is kind of unique to what I've seen in other parts of the county, or even Springfield's a big animal, so that's a whole other story there. But when you look at communities the size of Nixa, Ozark, Republic, that size, okay, you look at Ozark. We got the Utopia Club doing a spring craft festival, and then they're also doing a fall festival, right? That fall festival is massive, right?
That's
it's community idea, right?
Yeah.
It's a Utopia Club, and then you have the Sertomans putting on the duck race. You guys do the Oktoberfest in downtown Ozark. You have the trunk or treat in Ozark, right? The market days down on the square every month. So you get that going on. So there's Sertomans doing those activities and events, and then pinch hitting and some other events too, Sucker Days in Nixa and some other things. And then we look at what Rotary's doing. And some of the activities that they put on. You guys put on you do the bingo thing every year. Barbecue and bingo. It's huge.
It's our big fundraiser, but then I'm so proud.
It's also community fun, though.
Yeah. And I'm so proud of this. A lot of people don't know about this. Rotary in Ozark adopted a program from Springfield. It's a national program in Rotary called Don't Meth With Us.
Okay.
And what we do is we take education about avoiding drugs and personal responsibility, that kind of a story. And we have a curriculum that's been developed and fine-tuned over the years. And back when meth was a bigger issue, it was just don't meth with us. But now we talk about alcohol and drugs and just
everything that's out there.
Everything addictive that's out there, with still a heavy emphasis on meth based on where we are in the country.
Right.
And we take that to, I think it's fourth graders in Ozark, Chadwick, Ozark, Sparta, Chadwick. We provide this education curriculum, and the club does that all. It's not a fundraiser. The club, the members, we all support that. We provide T-shirts to every kid.
That's great.
And we see those T-shirts all over the county for years.
Right.
And we have kids that grow up as high schoolers.
Mm-hmm.
They remember Rotary coming to their school
In
to
the
provide
4th grade.
encouragement.
Yeah.
And you know, of course, being where we are in Christian County, we hear some pretty amazing stories.
Yeah.
Kids have, I know what you're talking about, or I saw that, or I saw those materials on the side of the road by our house, or
Mm-hmm.
you know, even more painful than
Yeah.
that.
Right.
With involvement with people they know.
Well, that's a good story. I didn't know that. I didn't know that. That's cool.
That's one of the things I'm most proud of about Rotary.
But but we take what Rotary does. We take what the Kiwanis do. A few things in the community, though. They got some stuff that they have going on. And of course, you know what we do. We do Showcase Ozark. We got the big parade. Of course, those are the community outreach events. And we've got a lot of groups here in Ozark. The guys who put on the rodeo every year, the Booster Club Rodeo.
Yeah.
Those guys that bring in a bunch of people and have a fun time. You know, so we've got a lot of organizations, and there's a lot of opportunities to give. But then when a tragedy happens, Jackie, we see that there is still love in people's hearts. And what Heather and her husband, oh my gosh, they're going to kill me. Oh my gosh, Heather and Lucas over at Luke Davis over at the Vineyard Market, and then and B29s and what
Chaz.
they put with Chaz and what they put together, you know, to honor those, you know, our fallen heroes, our sheriff's department. I mean, that was just unbelievable, and pulled all these volunteers. And our own Patty was out there working, and Susan, and you just saw the outpouring of love and donations, and that was given. And I hate to say, you know, sometimes it's a tragedy if then we see people's hearts are still there, and they find a way to do it. Heaven forbid a tornado comes through and takes out a part of our community. If it did, I just know that our people would be there in a heartbeat.
Oh, yeah.
But
it's not that long ago. You remember in Nixa when the tornado came through outside of town.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And I remember churches just unloading with support and assistance and volunteers, and that happens all the time.
All the time. So, but I think it's important for people to find that niche to give around. Because if you want to grow in your business, you want to grow. If you're in that, see, a lot of people, they go to their job every day, then they go home and they be with their families. They don't need to go out and network or market, or, you know, they've got a certain job that they do, and they're an IT professional, and they got to fix the computers all day long, then they get to go home. So I get that. There's a difference. But if you're a small business owner and you're trying to make it in this community, and you don't have a massive advertising budget, you gotta mark out some time to go do some extra activities.
So I'm glad you said that, because there's a couple of things that we're involved with personally that we like doing, and this is something that anybody could do. Anybody could do this, and one of them is to volunteer at least of these.
Mm-hmm. There's another great organization
that has the most massive volunteer organization. And a volunteer network that gets their work done every day. I mean, they go through unbelievable amounts of food there, helping hundreds and thousands of families. They have such a highly developed volunteer network and a volunteer system. Now, you want to see a small business run, you look at their volunteer system. And anybody...
Especially on Food Distribution Day.
Oh, yeah. But anybody, no matter your personality, your skills, your physical health, there is something for you to do. What do I do? What do I do? Mm-hmm. Go to least of these. They'll find you a place to help. Also, both of the there's several Care to Learn chapters in Christian County.
Yeah, there's another good
one.
But
I know in Ozark, they do need volunteers from time to time to help with their weekly backpacks they pack for kids to take home to make sure they have food over the weekend. What a great service that is. They can always use volunteers. There's lots of other things, but those are two of the biggest that I think of. And then we mentioned service organizations. I'm going to get in trouble here. I'll try to name them.
Don't be careful, because in our county it goes on forever and ever and ever. You will forget somebody.
Well, I'll go out on a limb. I'll go out on a limb. You fill in the blanks.
I'll try.
We got Rotary, Sertoma, Kiwanis. Do we still have Lions Club?
Yep, we got the Lions Club.
We did have Optimist. I don't know if we still have Optimist.
Don't know about that one. Utopia.
There's Cosmopolitan.
Okay, those are the civic groups.
Those are the civic groups, and you've got the Elks Lodge.
Yeah, we have them.
And they
do stuff.
They provide community service.
Yeah, they do.
And there's other groups. The Baptist Church does the clothing closet for the entire county. They don't do that just as a church ministry, but they do that as a social service entity in the community.
And they picked that up because least of these demand for food got so high that they could not take on the clothes and the food, and so First Baptist stepped up. And we have a lot of our churches that do a lot of great things. There's no doubt about it, and that's one of the reasons why, Jackie, is that when I first took over this position here at Ozark Chamber, one of the things that was brought to my attention was there used to be a great leadership program called Ozark Leads. And I'm like, Chris, if anybody can bring it back, you can do it. I said, well, hey, just give me some time. But, a couple of years later, when we kind of got the ship going in the right direction and things are looking good, we redeveloped this program. And we're going to be bringing it back because it teaches people how to get involved and how to be engaged in their community. It's that 9-month program. Did you ever do the Ozark Leads program?
You put me on the spot. Chris,
you did. You did. That's okay. I've never been. I was told.
I'm very familiar with it.
Right. I one time thought about going through the Springfield leadership one because I thought that might be a good thing. And I was working in Springfield. This has been years ago, and I never did it. But I think it would be. It is going to be a good opportunity for people to really see behind the scenes what makes Ozark really tick. Yeah. And we kept several different categories, but I'm really excited about bringing that back. And
well, something related to that, kind of a second cousin to that, is the Fire Academy and the Police Academy. Those are huge in terms of community engagement and just people being more aware of what goes on in their community. Yeah. I've not done those yet either, but both the police chief and the fire chief are good guys.
Well, they try to get me to the fire academy. My dad was a fire chief in this county for 25 years, and I grew up in the fire service. And I'm like, I love you guys,
but I'm good.
At one point I was a volunteer and all that stuff. So
if anybody's got the back of fire, it'd be you.
Well, there you go. But it is a good program. And man, I don't know what. How about our first Friday coffee the other day at the fire station? Wasn't that fun?
That was a great experience.
Good.
That was a great experience.
All right, Jackie, we're about coming up on our hour here. Any final words of wisdom that you can want to bestow upon the great listeners of Ozark Unplugged here at the Ozark Chamber of Commerce?
Well, I guess the big themes of what we've talked about is get involved. You don't have an excuse to not get involved if you have a desire, truly have a desire to do that for the right reasons. And number two, I'm going to want to emphasize this anytime, anywhere, is give.
Yeah.
We live in one of the most...
It doesn't have to be money.
Correct.
Yes. Be very clear on that.
But I'm gonna lean toward money, and I'm not selling anything here.
We got two: Finley River Community Foundation and the Historical River District in downtown Ozark. Yes, two more. Forgot. Okay, sorry, I didn't want to forget them.
Yep,
didn't want to forget them.
Those are good. But I think as a society we've dropped the ball a little bit in giving. And there's national studies that happen that show philanthropy, on average, giving for charitable purposes has been flat or declining.
Jackie, do you think part of that is people have been a little unsure of financial situations? And they're going, okay, I normally would give maybe 20% instead of my normal tithe at church, but now I'm going to just drop back to the 10% because that's what the Bible really says, right? I mean, so... you think that may be where it's at, or is it?
You've got to be fair about looking at the statistics, because if you look at national statistics for giving in religion, if everybody in this area did tithe, there would be an unbelievable amount of assets available for churches to do work.
Right.
Much more than what they have now. So we talk about tithing, but is it really there? Generally, it's not. So I encourage to think about ways to financially give. Yes, you can give your time. Yes, you can give, talent. But we need to look people in the eye and say, it's okay to ask for money. A lot of people I talk to about they want to be on a board for a nonprofit. Oh, but I don't want to do fundraising. Or I don't want to ask for money. It's like, you know what? That's one of the number one responsibilities of a board member is to be open to
having that conversation,
revenue generation, or at least helping me have the conversation with it. Just getting in the door to do that. And people don't need to be afraid to be asked for money. And the famous answer is, "Oh, I'll think about it." It's like, I'd much rather hear, I'm going to pass. I'm going to pass this.
Right.
I'd much rather hear that than, I'll get back to you or I'll think about it without an answer. And, what's the guy, the old Dale Carnegie course. You ask somebody for something, or there's 3 possible answers. There's yes, there's no, and there's maybe. Well, only one of those are negative. And if you've got the right attitude and somebody tells you maybe, it's like, okay, you've not said no.
Yeah.
So I might double back and ask them again.
Right.
Because they've not said yes or no. So I encourage people to make a decision about that. And if you say no, that's going to help the person asking know where they're at with everything. But there's a lot more capacity for financial giving than what is happening. There are a lot of folks, a lot of the same people are asked all the time.
That's the other problem that we have.
And there's a silent majority with amazing assets that needs to be reminded and asked.
And I feel bad about that sometimes, especially when they want... Seems like maybe you or me or Sir Tomans or something, we're all pulling kind of from the same pool here a little bit. I look at it going, okay, who are we not sharing the message about how they can get engaged in Ozark and seeing the benefit of sponsoring a golf tournament, seeing the benefit of, participating in this activity or whatever? How can I get that message to them? Because I feel like sometimes we do over ask sometimes certain people in this community.
I won't call any names.
No, we're not. No, it's not hard to think about it.
There's a local nonprofit that had a volunteer event, and they had a local, privately owned, successful company bring some of their staff to come volunteer at a nonprofit event. And I went up to the director later and I said, I just want to congratulate you on getting that company to come see what you're doing and experience, your mission.
Right.
And totally the highest value to see people willing to make a step and say, hey, let's get our team together and go help a nonprofit do something. That there needs to be a lot more of that, and there's room for a lot more of that in the community. Volunteers are harder to come by than even 10 years ago.
Oh, yeah.
Price Cutter Charity Championship used to fill up on Thursday and Friday with corporate volunteers that would come for the day, and a lot of companies have cut back on that. And there's a lot of room for people to help.
A lot of downsizing, too. So.
Yep.
All right, speaking of events and giving here, let me throw this up here on the screen for you real fast. There we go. We got the you're selling duck tickets already. It'll be June before you know it.
Oh my goodness! Yes, there are a lot of folks that I went to a service organization meeting earlier this week and told them what we were doing and told them, the ducks you can buy 1 for a price and 6 for a price and 13 for a price and I had like 11 or 12 sales in like 5 minutes. They were lined up with their credit cards, and they wanted to help.
Yeah.
They wanted to now they want to win a new truck.
Right. No, and other fun prizes, too.
That's really cool. So we're excited about that. And then right around the corner in July will be the Price Cutter Cares, and they'll be auctioning off a vehicle as well. And we continue to let people know about our building campaign, our Healthy Smiles campaign at Children's Smile Center. We've got a donor wall, and we're saying thank you to a lot of companies and individuals in Christian County, mostly Christian County and Springfield, that are helping out. And if anybody's interested in that, I'll always would enjoy that visit.
Well, Jackie, as always, buddy, I appreciate you stopping by the Ozark Unplugged podcast room, our first one of 2026, and it looks like the recording happened. So I'm going to double check it in just a minute.
Congratulations.
Yeah, guys. Right. We're wanting to kick this off and get this going and visit with people like you and finding out about your mission and vision and leadership ideas and skill sets. And I think it's going to be a good podcast for the Ozark community, and we've got some other ones lined up to do some interviews with. So, Jackie, as always, my friend, thank you so much for being here. Have a good day.
Thank you, sir.
You've been listening to another edition of Ozark Unplugged from the Ozark Chamber of Commerce. Real conversations with Ozark leaders. You'll find this podcast and others like it on Apple Podcasts, YouTube Podcasts, iHeart Podcasts, Amazon Music, and Spotify. Thanks for tuning in. We'll catch you next time on Ozark Unplugged.